Welcome to the WCB podcast. It's episode 681 here on your, if you're listening in real time, on your Thursday morning. This podcast is with Kenneth Lancaster, obviously, if you read the title, and Laden came in. And this is a really fun episode, really good dudes. I like hearing a lot about the rise of the industry in the time of the early days of Kenneth and a lot of these guys. So I think it's always interesting to see like what paved the foundation for what is the bow hunting media world today. So a lot of great conversations. Go check out the elk episode that we talk about in this episode. It's linked in the episode description already. What else? Man, it's hunting season coming into November. We're going to have some great content come in. We have a off the wall BS session coming next week. I'm thinking about launching it a little early, but then if it launches before Thursday, then people complain because they're confused on why it launched not on Thursday. So we'll see. If you're on Patreon, you've already listened to it because we did it live for you guys. Speaking of Patreon, the custom Halloween themed carved sheds we're giving away on Patreon, and you can join any tier. Our lowest tier starts at $1, and there's tiers that go up from there. There's benefits there. There's exclusive content on Patreon. If you're already a member, we appreciate the support. But by the time we're halfway through the giveaway, and we're just going to pick somebody random from Patreon to win those sheds. And if you're listening to this in real time, it's Thursday. You can be entered by Monday. Monday night we'll pick, or Tuesday morning we'll pick, so we get that full weekend. So appreciate you there if you're a Patreon member. What else? We got, more hunting camp content coming, buck stories coming. Rachel, Andy, and Devin will be in the coming weeks, so I imagine there'll be a handful of hunting episodes coming in the whitetail world here. Where are we at? Big Time is a partner of WCB. Check out our YouTube. I just did of one of my plots. I just did like a crib style tour of my plot from Big Time to Foundation Clover to Buck Brunch to Peas and Tubers. And with the grizzly blind stuff and the Blackgate camera and the water trough and all that, you can see how we set that up. It turned out really nice. Rocking Huntworth solids right now in the studio. Everything heat boost is going to save your ass when it's cold. You can use code WCB15 at huntworthgear.com. The new pattern Vertec is sick. Vertec and Tarnin are our go-to patterns. Obviously, we're going to Old Barn Taxidermy for everything. Trophy Line's got the new Nimbus saddle set up. Budget's the wrong word. It's a really awesome saddle. Doug's running the Nimbus. Some of our other great friends like Garrett Goodwin's running the Nimbus, and that dude saddle hunts a lot, and he's really impressed with it. So saddle hunting is definitely more in our arsenal than ever before, except for Eric. Eric's just like a tree stand guy. You know, he's flying the flag for Novix pretty hard there. Grizzly coolers, drinkware, blinds, Blackgate trail cameras. I know they got a sale rocking right now. You can get like 4 packs of the R4G. Novix tree stands, definitely. I got a sit plan for Wednesday night and an Echo. I'm stoked for that. Mountain Ops code WCB on Ignite and Hydrate and Enduro. Those are our and the Slumber Sleep gummies that gets us going or not going. It helps us rest because we don't. Deercast, everything for our mapping. Parcel info, wind check, predictive movements, Deercast track. One of my favorite. Devin's calling me right now. I'm going to ignore that till we get done. Loophole optics, Illuma trailers, Victory arrows, dialed archery. The new Proof is out. Stoked to get that set up. I'm wanting to get the new Elite Exalt and get that Proof set up on there. I'm stoked for that. That's dialed is just killing it. I can't wait to see what happens with that company and what unfolds with it. Trying to get Scott in here when he comes to Hunt Illinois if he can get away from the biz. Rogue Ridge e-bikes. I took my 1000 out last night for a quick hunt, like an observation sit for the first time hunting, and I had a 750 before, and the 1000, it's a big difference. So if you're in the market and you're on the line between 750 and 1000, I recommend the 1000 if you have hills. If you don't have hills, the 750 is perfectly fine. But that 1000 just motored up everything, especially when you're doing like a pedal assist. So check out Rogue Ridge e-bikes. Look at that 1000. I ride the full frame bike. Coming from a biking background, I like to be able to rip around on that. And Rat Cub. You can use code WCB at Rat Cub. If you missed the drop, number 3 with the brass caps, I'm sorry. I have some on the way to the studio. But everything else, the RH1, the RH2, they're awesome setups. It's a great alternative to Euro mounts, a great way to display sheds, a great way to display deadheads, so you don't have to boil and all the crap, and it's tasteful. So your wife will probably like it if she doesn't like traditional taxidermy. So check out Rack Hub, code WCB. And I don't know where we're at. Eric and Jordan are in Kansas right now. I have rumor that Eric shot a doe this morning, I believe. That's all the news we got. So we'll get into some of that and get some stories out of the way. But I'm rambling. Thank you for the support. Thank you for listening to WCB. Buck episodes on the way. Good luck to everybody hunting. We appreciate you. Enjoy this one.
I'm Chase Rolfson with Rubline Marketing.
This is Jeff Lindsay.
This is Michael Pitt.
Hey everybody, it's John Dudley from Knock on TV.
Hey guys, this is Jared Scheffler from Whitetail Adrenaline.
Hi, I'm Taylor Drury from Drury Outdoors.
Hey, this is Nick Munt from Bone Collector.
Hey, this is Melissa Buckman.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast.
Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast. Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
You're listening to the Working Class Bow Hunter. That's right, this is a podcast for Billy Joe Lunchbucket, the working man, just like me and you. My name's Travis T-Bone Turner from the Bone Collector. Thank you for tuning in.
Nobody pushes the envelope like Working Class Bow Hunter.
It's really not that good.
Those people on that pod, those hosts are a little unhinged.
Working Class. Working Class.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
It's episode 600. What the hell?
I just wanted to play again.
Well, it's episode 680. That button's got a mind of its own.
Hey, you never know what's going to happen here.
We're here at the WCB podcast, New Windsor, Illinois. Kurt Geyer speaking.
Eric Common.
Doug Schmidt.
Jordan Jepson.
Hey, Jordan.
Hello. Boy.
Just checking it. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay, you look good.
All right.
Moving around the table, returning guest.
Yeah, man. Laden Force.
What's up, dude?
Oh, man, I'm happy to be here again. Thank you.
Well,
glad you're back.
But we're not talking about you this episode.
We're not. Yeah. No, I'm just like, I'm like that sidekick. You know that dude that's always rolling along with the homie? He's like, he's always there, but you know, it's all good.
Don't really know what he does.
Yeah,
he's just
like,
there.
He's like, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
You're bona fide.
Yeah, there you go.
Guest of the hour.
Kenneth Lancaster.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Man, thank y'all for having me. This is like super cool.
Well, I'm glad you're here in studio. That's a big deal to us. So we really appreciate that. So,
I'm telling you, I've wanted to do this, and the way that I wanted to do it was in studio.
yeah.
So
It's definitely, people at work that have to do Zoom meetings don't really, Zoom podcasts have their place, but it's better like this.
oh yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. And we got chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes.
Got the whole fixins. I was wondering if they did that for you. Kind of made you feel like you were at home. I made a call.
Yeah, it was like it was on point when we went in there. So I feel like it was just for me.
It was legit, though.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
little sweet tea and chicken fried steak.
Yeah,
Can't beat it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the depot is right, for people who don't know or have never listened, it's right across from the studio. It's like the sidewalk was paved for us to walk.
It really is.
Kurt, it was.
It might have been. I think it's been there a while, but it's just meant to be. So, yeah, you get the full New Windsor experience. You guys were asking about the rodeo here. The New Windsor Rodeo is legit. It's a good time.
I'd like to come check it out.
Yeah.
Anybody that has a sign that is, speaking of bona fide, as bona fide as that sign is, as you come into it'd be the west side of town.
Yep.
It's legit. Like
It's so we could do it. So it kicks off on a Thursday. We record on Thursdays. So it was the last weekend in August.
okay.
So we, like Larry Mack was in one time on a Thursday. I'm like, dude, we threw a parade for you. It was a whole parade. And it's right here out front of the studio. So we'll have to just schedule the next one where it's like on parade week or rodeo week. So you guys will get the full.
Well,
That'd be cool.
Well, Chris Ashley and I team roped together, so maybe we could.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we could have him, and we could enter the rodeo.
just show
There you
everybody
go.
how it's done down
Yeah,
There
we'll come do a little southern roping.
there. See, that'd be awesome. You get the full blown New Windsor experience. So
Full effect.
that's our little town. So
Yeah.
glad to have you guys. So, man, okay, we're getting a full blown spoonful of Southern hospitality lately here on WCB.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm embracing it.
Right.
WCB goes Southern. That's what we're doing. We hung out with the small town boys in Kentucky. I don't know, at the time of recording 3-4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Awesome dudes. Never met them in person, but obviously heard amazing things about them. And they're a riot. Peanut. Oh, they were small town hunts. It's like it was awesome. And then, but we had talked at Illinois Deer and Beer Fest before that. Back in, late August.
August, right?
It was just after the rodeo.
Yeah.
So, and we talked about doing a podcast. I didn't put 2 and 2 together for some reason that I was going to record with them. Well, I didn't know that at the time. It was like a last minute thing before you got in. So if I would have tried to have stirred up controversy from Small Town to you. But now that I've already recorded with Small Town and you know that, now we can talk shit on this episode, and then it can just soak for a while before they come back on again.
Oh, man, the stories I'm fixing to tell y'all.
Because all right, we're just starting way back. You hired those guys at Primo's.
Absolutely. I started at Primo's in 93, late 93.
I was 3 years old, by the way.
Same.
Hey, man, you're really making me feel old. So yeah.
So what I do my bad.
I just did you dirty. My bad.
Hey, we were filming on SVHS cameras. Do you even know what that is?
What's that, Jordan?
That VHS?
No.
See,
SVHS.
I don't know that.
As my daddy would say, go juggle it sometime. So the cameras were so big, we had a battery pack that went around our belt, and it plugged into the camera and then went to the batteries that actually went around the belt. And that's how we carried it in the mountains, elk hunting, deer hunting.
So you're carrying like an extra like 90 pounds.
Oh my gosh, it had to have been. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what we started out shooting.
Like this right here?
Yeah. That would be.
Would that be the battery pack right here?
That would.
I bet it is.
That would be close. Yeah. But we had like those batteries right there. We would have like 6 of them, and we had a belt that was made that had slots in it where we could put those batteries in those slots around the belt.
Oh my gosh.
So that camera's like one you put on your shoulder type camera.
Oh, on your shoulder, yeah. But now we carried a tripod that weighed like 947 pounds. Because it had to be so big to support the camera back then, that we would stop and, and put it on. But one battery would only last like 27 minutes from one battery. So you would just unplug it and then reach around and plug it into another one, plug it into another one. So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Man. So you would, like, in the middle of the day, you'd come back, you'd have charged batteries in the middle of the day. Now, y'all can go days on one battery, now.
And probably to charge one of them batteries probably took 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What, do you remember what a camera like that costed in 93?
In 93, those cameras were 15 grand.
Oh, wow. For real?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was unbelievable what they cost back then. Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like we bought these like 360 cams and it has 8K capability. Like
crazy.
What was like the
and it's
actual
this big.
yeah. Like what was the actual like picture resolution on them things, Like I wonder what it would like calculate.
94.
So back then it was. So I'm talking really like I don't know a whole lot about cameras anymore. But it was pixels. So it was the number of pixels that was the higher number of pixels, the cleaner it was.
Right.
That's so I don't remember the numbers on it, but yeah. So yeah. So when I came to work at Primo's. And Brad Ferris, who is my brother-in-law, that is still now part of Primo's, does some stuff with Primo's. He came to work 6 months later after I went to work for him. And then we hired, it would have been Chris Ashley. He was working over at Willow Point. So Brad and I hired Chris Ashley. And then Keith Burgess Keith is from a little town in Louisiana, real close to where I grew up. I grew up in Lake Providence, Louisiana. He grew up in Monticello, Louisiana. So, and we didn't know each other whenever we were kids. So, but Keith was working in the back building calls, and we needed another cameraman. So we gave him a shot. So we brought him up, and he started running the camera. And then later, we hired Kevin Meacham, and then Cody and Kevin were brother-in-laws, and then so we hired Cody after that. So yeah, Brad Ferris and I pretty much put that whole team of boys together.
So they owe their lives to you.
Oh, I taught them everything they know. I mean,
No denying it.
I mean, I'm not just going to put it out there. I mean, you know.
Yeah, you're daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're daddy. You're the daddy.
I mean, me and Brad Ferris, if it wasn't for us two, I mean, I don't know what they'd be doing.
Probably nothing.
Making calls still.
Flipping burgers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put the fries in the bag.
I almost made it.
Yeah. I was on Primos. I was there.
Still got the Primos hat on.
Yeah. That's sad. It's sad. I mean,
funny.
what a tragedy it could have been.
Oh.
Could have been an absolute tragedy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But thank God for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still the most Googled person, you know, on Primos.
Yeah.
I claim that. They don't know that, but I know that.
Because you Googled it to see.
Yeah, I Googled it to see.
Every
Who
day.
was the most Googled person that ever was on
Or just
Primos.
you Googling yourself. I'm like,
I did that too.
that's awesome. Okay, well, hopefully they hear it. I'll make sure they hear that.
Please do. Please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, boys, what's up? Wish you were here, not.
Yeah.
That's those guys are a riot. But,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's cool. That connection is neat.
Oh, man, those guys, every one of those guys live within 20 miles of me in Mississippi. So we see one another all the time. We still hunt together, and, you know, they're some of my best friends. I mean, we've traveled all over the country together. So, you know the bond that hunting will bring. You know?
Definitely.
So we're still really, really good friends.
Yeah, to say something nice about them, I didn't know them at all. You know, heard about them, had mutual friends, and rolled into camp like just kind of like, "What's up, boys? I'm here to hunt too," which is like, I felt intrusive, and they were just like, "What's up, man? You want some Southern smoked sausage?" And they're big, and I'm doing their whole thing, but they're great. They're fun. The podcast, will tell you,
worth a listen.
It's hard to beat. They told Cody and Keith told that story about the dog getting into his. Did you ever hear that story? They're turkey hunting.
Oh,
Keith took a shit and the dog got in it. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That story killed me. So if you want to hear that story, go back and listen to the small town episode.
Yeah, I know the story. Yeah.
The whole time I'm like, where's this going, man? But those guys are awesome. So that's a neat connection. So you're pretty much their savior. We'll just rub that in a little bit more. But that's a neat connection. Do you remember like interviewing those guys or like what like?
Yeah, well, Chris Ashley and I worked together at y'all may have heard. Have you ever heard of Terra before?
No, I was going to ask what it was.
Yeah, Terra Willow Point was. There's two islands of the Mississippi River, and we used to guide deer hunts over there. So Chris and I. And Kevin Meacham as well, that used to be with them. We guided deer hunts together over on Willow Point, and that's how we pretty much met Will Primos, was from guiding over there.
Oh, really?
Yep. And
was it back? Sorry to cut you off, but
no.
When you guided back then, was it like what you would think of like an outfit would be today? Like someone just booked a 5-day and then
yeah, well, they would actually book a 3-day hunt. So, it would be 16 hunters at a time. The island that we guided on was Willow Point. So
must be a big island.
It was it really 6,500 acres is what it was.
Okay.
And we had I don't know how many stands we had hung over there, but it was our job as guides to have all those stands hung for different winds. So, and this was before, Onyx or any of the, those apps. We didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, you didn't have Google
we
Maps.
We would literally get up in the morning, walk outside with
Check
a
the flag.
compass, and we would but we would walk out and take a wind puffer and then walk back in, and Tom Jones and Hank Hearn was the head guides that ran the place. We'd come back in, we'd say, well, Hank, we got a southeast wind this morning, and he'd say, well, go pick 16 southeast wind stands, and so we would go and pick which stands they were going to go to, and then we would put them in. We had some Kawasaki mules, we had some Toyota trucks that were fixed up, and we'd put them in there, and and take them to the stand, drop them off.
No kidding.
Yeah, and so that's how I.
What year would that have been?
That would have been around 1990. Probably 89 to 90.
So before that, how did you? I'm assuming you grew up hunting, right? Of course, but like before that, did you work in hunting, or was that your first entry into the industry?
So here's let me tell you, just to try to make this short as I can. But so the way that I actually got into the industry was through archery. I worked in an archery shop in South Jackson.
Okay.
And Will Primos walked into the shop one day to get some stuff done to his bow, and I got to know him through the shop first, and then I started guiding over on. So the Willow Point used to be called Henderson Island whenever I was a kid, and that was our hunting club whenever I was a kid. So I knew the place really well before it was bought and turned into a outfit. Yeah.
So you were the
easy
guy.
transition, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of knew my way around over there. So they hired me as a guide, and I worked at the archery shop as well. So I would work 3 days at the archery shop and then go over and work 4 days guiding. And then so I was actually going to buy the archery shop, and my dad, they wanted $60,000 for the archery shop. This was in it would have been in 93 is when it would have been. They wanted the two brothers that owned it wanted $60,000 for it, and I went to my dad and told my dad I wanted to try, I wanted to buy this archery shop, and when my dad told me, he said, I'll put up 30,000. He said, but you got to put up 30,000. And he said, I'm not going to go co-sign for you. You got to come up with it. Well, I was, how old was I? 21, 22 at the time. I didn't have $30,000,
Yeah.
So I went down to Deposit Guarantee Bank in Byram, Mississippi. I walked in, asked to see the loan officer. I walked into the loan officer with a T-shirt on and cowboy boots, pretty much like what I got on right now, and walked in and sat down, and the guy, I remember his name was Jack, and he said, what can I help you with? I said, Mr. Jack, I want to borrow $30,000. He said, for what? I said, I want to buy an archery shop. And he said, well, what do you have for collateral? And I'm not lying. This is the truth. I tell you, you've heard the story.
I've heard it.
This is the truth. I told him, I said, I got a 92 model Chevrolet truck. I said, it's got a lift on it. It's 35s. I said, it's slick.
Yeah.
I said, but I owe $11,000 on it. I said, I got a 870 shotgun, ain't got no scratches on it. And I said, I got a 7400 30-06, ain't got no scratches on it. I said, both of them probably worth about $600 a piece.
Yeah.
I said, but other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
And he kind of leaned back and he said, well, son, that just ain't gonna cut it. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And he said, well, I don't know. He said, I just don't see it happening. So anyway, I left and went back to the archery shop and called my dad, and I said, I just don't think it's going to happen, and my dad said, well, I'm sticking to my guns, if you're, I'm not going to co-sign for you, got to figure this out on your own. So 3 days later, I got a phone call from a lady there at the archery shop, and I answered it, and the lady told me, she said, Kenneth, Jack wants you to come back down, and he wants to talk to you. So I drove back down to the little bank, and the bank was actually a single wide trailer. That's what it was.
Really?
So, yeah, that's what it was. It was a single. That's how small it was. A little single wide trailer.
It's like in a movie.
Yeah. So I go in.
Where's the vault?
Yeah. So I go in.
This is mobile.
So I go in, and I go in Mr. Jack's little office there, and he had his chair kicked back and had his feet sitting up on his desk whenever I come in. He said, "Sit down, boy." I went in. I sat down, and he looked across at me, and he said, "You know, you got some gall coming in here and trying to borrow $30,000 whenever you ain't got a pot to piss in." And I said, "Well, let me ask you something, Mr. Jack." I said, "If you don't loan me some money," I said, "how am I ever going to have a pot to piss in?" He said, "Well, that's why I called you back." He said, "For you to have the gall to come in here and do that," he said, "showed me that you probably will." He said, "So here's what I'm going to do." He said, "I'm going to loan you the money, and I'm going to co-sign for you myself."
Whoa, for real?
For real. The guy, that's the first time I'd ever met the guy. So we shook hands, and he said, "All I ask is you make sure you pay it back." And I said, "Yes, sir." So I walked out, went to a payphone because it was before cell phone.
Yeah.
Went to a payphone, called my dad, and I said, "Hey, get your money ready. I got mine." And my dad said, "Okay, we're good." Well, the next day, Will Primos walked into the archery shop. And I was excited to tell him about my adventure, adventure that I was, going on. And anyway, I told him, everything that had happened. And anyway, he reached in his pocket, pulled a card out, and got a pen. He wrote something on the back of this card and slid it over. He said, "Before you sign that note," he said, "come to my house tomorrow night and have supper with me. I want to talk to you about something." And
It's like, what's
What's
going
going
on?
on?
yeah, so anyway, he left, and I called all my buddies. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to eat supper with Will Primos. I'm going to his house."
What was, to paint the picture, because we were just to rub it in again, we were babies.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
born.
All right.
We were in born.
If you didn't hear it the first
1990,
time,
I was.
I wasn't.
what was the perception of Will Primos in '93? Like, how big was Will Primos?
He was big. He was what Michael Waddell is right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
for sure. I get that.
Yep.
That's who he was.
I figured that would have been what it was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was that guy. He was the guy.
Yep. Okay.
And so I go over to his house. Look at this address. It's in Madison, Mississippi, is where it was at. Well, I pulled up to where they gave me this address, and it was a 600 square foot duplex. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this dude done gave me a bogus address. I swear.
It's another single one.
I'm kidding. I pulled up 3 times before I'd knock on the door because I was like, there's no way Will Primos lives in a 600 square foot duplex. But what the dude did was put every penny he had back into his business. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I walked up and, knocked on the door, and here he come, opened the door. And so I walked in, and we sat down and had supper. And anyway, after supper, he said, "Well, look," he said, here's what I called you over here for." He said, "Ron Jolly just left that, worked with us." He said, "And I'm looking for somebody to come to work as a cameraman / face on the, with Primos." And this was before TV. Mm-hmm. This would have been VHS days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he offered me a job making $18,000 a year. I could kill 1 elk a year, and I could kill like 7 deer and, go on 9 turkey hunts, pretty much. Yeah. And, that was, that I pretty much getting paid in blood is what we call it. Yeah. But anyway, I remembered he offered that to me. We were sitting there on the couch, and I was thinking to myself, now, man, this is, I don't even know how to turn a camera on, but, this sounds like, so anyway, I left, went straight to a payphone and called my dad.
Payphone, I was looking for him.
Jordan's still over here going, "What's a payphone, guys?"
Called my dad, and, and I told my dad, I said, "Hey, man, look," I said, Will offered me a job, and he was like, "Really?" He said, "What's he going to pay you?" I said, "Man, $18,000. And he said, "Well, yeah, that'll pay your truck note, and get you out of my house, But anyway, my dad, we talked it over, and so we decided not to buy the archery shop, and I went to work for Will. So
First off, how let down was the guy at the bank that you're like, hey man, my bad.
Actually,
We're in a trailer. I didn't have the 30 grand in the first place.
probably so.
Thank God.
He was.
My name's not even Jack.
He was actually a Will Primo's fan, so it was a
worked.
cool deal.
He understood.
Yeah, he understood. Yeah.
I said that was mobile banking before mobile bank.
Exactly.
I've got this vision of like the armored truck backing up to the the
Kitchen
lobby,
window.
which is the kitchen
The
window.
lobby.
That's awesome.
Man, it was But so I go to work for Will like that week. This is in November.
Yeah.
And we're coming to Illinois to the Pike County. I'd been out of the state of Louisiana, Mississippi maybe twice in my life.
Oh, really?
At that point, yeah, I hadn't traveled.
So this is
there.
we're still talking 93, 94 time frame at this point?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep. So Will, I go up to the, well, first of all, Will asked me what my sizes were so I could get closed.
Yeah.
And so this box shows up at my house, and so it was so funny. It shows up at my house, and actually it was 2 big cardboard boxes. Well, I brought them in, man. I opened them up. My dad was home from work that afternoon, and opened it up, and it was 7 brand new pair of Mossy Oak Bottomland 6-pocket pants, and it was 6 brand new long sleeve T-shirts with the double pockets on the front and a bomber jacket.
And your dad took them all.
My mom took a picture of them because I laid them all out on the floor in there in the living room, and my mom still has a Polaroid picture of all those clothes and me sitting behind them smiling. And my dad was sitting over in the chair. He said, "Son, you done made it now."
That is awesome.
You still have that photo?
Oh, I still have it. Oh, yes.
Oh my God, you got to send us a picture of that.
I will.
photo.
I'll send it to you.
That needs to be the cover art.
Oh my God, that's awesome. You still have that.
I do. My mom kept it. Yeah, she kept a scrapbook of my hunting career.
That's
through
cool, man.
Primos, yeah. But so like 3 days or like 2 days later, I go up to the office, and Will brings out this SVHS camera and hands it to me, and he says, "What do you know about this?" I said, "Absolutely nothing."
By the way, the camera was almost your salary.
Pretty much. Exactly.
You don't drop that thing.
So we go out in the parking lot and of where Primo's was at, and we go to a light pole, take a stand and put it on the light pole about 6 foot high. He shows me how to take a camera arm and a camera base, and back then they were made out of steel.
You say, how heavy are those?
Oh, they were so heavy. I mean, and Will was, in the getting in the stand in the morning. We would put those on the tree. We would use the ratchet strap was it was this wide, and we would. They were huge.
Clink, clink, clink.
Yeah, and so
Bend the tree.
Yeah. So
Who made that camera arm? Do you remember who made it?
the first
I'll
guy's
even
first name
Google
was
that.
Mike. Some of that stuff is in a museum in Mississippi right now.
Just a piece of 2x4
wildlife.
Was it like
Yeah,
with a bolt? Yeah, with a bolt
Yeah.
through it, all thread through it. Was it like handmade?
yeah.
Like
It was.
probably you couldn't buy it.
So it wasn't like a commercially
Yeah.
made.
No, it was Mike something. I can't remember his last name.
I was gonna
that
try and
made
look
them.
it up, but
Yeah, but I actually still have it. I'll send you a picture of it. I still have one.
see, that's cool.
But
You still have that stuff.
It's covered in moleskin. So we would take the ratchet strap too and cover it in moleskin. So whenever you would click it in the mornings before daylight, it wouldn't make any noise. And so he showed me how to do that, and then we got the camera and put it on the camera arm. He showed me how to lock it on there, and got in the stand in this parking lot. And Will says, "Okay, here's the on and off button. Here's the record button. Here's how you focus it right here, the focus ring." And Will actually got out in the parking lot and ran around like a fullback or tailback. And I followed him in video. He would run to me and stop, and he'd say, "Okay, focus." And I'd focus, and then he'd take off running. And stop, and he'd say, "Focus." And so then we did all that, and then we went in the went back in the office and he took it out and popped it in the VHS player, back then, and rewound it and sat there and we watched it, and it was horrible. But he said, "Oh, you're good to go. We're leaving. We're leaving for Pike County, Illinois tomorrow." Yeah. So we go to Pike County. So we go. Now, the one thing I did know how to do was hunt. I was, I grew up hunting all my life. My grandfather was a commercial fisherman on the Mississippi River. My dad trapped, and in 1985 he caught enough coon hides to buy me a 110 3-wheeler for Christmas, which was that was so
top of the line back then.
I mean, I'm telling you, man,
a three-wheeler,
a Honda three-wheeler.
You don't still have that, do you?
No, I wish I did. Yeah,
for real.
But
hey, don't buy one now. They're through the roof.
Oh man, I've been looking at some 250Rs. I want one bad.
Yeah.
So we went and hung a stand, found a spot that was just really, really good, a little funnel. And the first time we sat in a tree, here at the time, the biggest deer that Will had ever shot with his bow was a 164-inch 10-point. Here he come walking up through this draw, and I get the camera, and I'm looking at the deer as he's coming, and the whole time, to this day, I still don't know how I did this, but I'm looking to the left of the viewfinder, watching the deer and following with the camera, and I never looked through the viewfinder at the deer. Now, I hit the record button, but I'm watching like this because I'm just, I've never seen a deer that big.
Yeah.
And so the deer comes up there 20 yards, and Will draws back, man. Just smokes him. Deer runs out there and falls dead, And anyway, Will turns around and I bring the camera back to him, and I'm actually pointing it at him, and and he's and all pumped up, and all this and everything. So anyway, afterwards, I reached up and hit the record button, turned it off, and Will was like, "Man, that was awesome. That's the biggest deer I've ever shot." He was like, "I want to see the footage. It's got to be great," And I was like, I was proud. I had my chest all poked out, so I took the camera off and handed it down to him because you could rewind it and watch it through the viewfinder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he was sitting there watching it, and he'd look up at me.
Oh, no.
Look up at me and look down. So
You didn't get any of it on video.
None of it. All you can hear is man. That's all you can hear. So look, y'all, he ended up putting that hunt on VHS that year. That would have been the Truth 4 about Truth 4 about whitetails is what it would have been. And that hunt, he played it on there just like it happened. The recovery was out of focus whenever I videoed the recovery. Every bit of it, all out of focus. And that's it right there.
It is.
Yep. That's it.
Includes 11 hunts,
face.
8 bow, 1 muzzleloader, 1 rifle, 1 shotgun slug, and more.
And one missed on video.
But to this day, that hunt.
Oh, is that it on top or no?
That's
Mississippi.
MS.
I don't know if they even have it.
Oh, Iowa kill. No,
That was Illinois.
Shit.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
That is cool.
That's so cool.
But to this day, I mean, that was whatever year that is, and I still have people that to this day, whenever I'm at a show, I still have people come up and ask me about that hunt.
Really?
To this day, people come up and ask me about that hunt. They'll come up and make fun of me or pick on
still
me,
giving you shit.
or whatever, about
thanks.
that
It's only
hunt.
been 30 years.
Yeah. And some of those old VHS tapes from Primos on eBay and they're pretty expensive. I mean,
this is on Amazon, but I don't think you can buy it. Or can you?
It's got a 4.7 rating.
Oh, wow.
Not too
I
bad.
must not have hated it.
2 ratings. Let's look at this is on it.
Is this talking shit about you? That'd be hilarious.
Except for that one bow hunt in Illinois. It was out of focus.
What the hell was that? That's the only review.
so that was my first time in the tree with a video camera. Now it got better after that, but anyway, that was my.
You gotta start somewhere, right?
It's a great story.
That was my maiden voyage.
So was he ever upset with you?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Really?
He just the little town there. Do y'all know where Pleasant Hill is, Illinois?
Pleasant Hill. It's straight south of us, I believe, like 2 hours.
Yeah,
I think
it would be. What's where the Red Dome is? What's the what's the name of the town that?
There's like Barry. Is it like southeast of Quincy a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah, you're southeast of Quincy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Pittsfield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Pittsfield's what I was trying to think of. That's where we always went over, and met Mark Drury.
That's the
and
restaurants.
Everybody.
Oh yeah,
Red
because
Dome.
Pittsfield's where isn't that where Whitetail Properties is?
Whitetail
based?
Properties is in Pittsfield. That's exactly
Okay.
right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So back in the heyday, everybody in November was in Pike County, Adams County, Schuyler County.
Was Pike County was still, because I know Pike County from early 2000s, and it was still that was like the TV craze. I mean, from my perspective, I don't know what it actually was, but in the early 90s, Pike County was still and raved about then in early 90s.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was unbelievable until it got. To me, it just got to where everybody was leasing every 5 acres. If somebody owned it, they would lease 5 acres for,
just crazy money.
Yeah, it got crazy.
Just got over outfitted over TV.
Exactly.
I think wasn't there a time period there, like in the mid 2000s, that the state of Illinois like bumped their non-resident tags by like 9,000 or 11,000 tags or something, and it all kind of coincided right there at the same same time. And so like there were more non-residents that were allowed to come in and hunt. And I just remember that I was a wee bit older than you fellers. I was born in '84, and I just remember that kind of being that heyday, and everybody hunted Adams County and Pike County. And,
the Golden Triangle.
Yeah,
it was so cool though, man. Just I remember the days in Pittsfield going hunting in the afternoons and then coming back and taking a shower and then going to the Red Dome and going in and Mark and Terry Drury would
The
be
Red
in
Dome
there.
was the restaurant?
That's the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like a tiny ATA.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I mean,
Just to take a
anybody.
picture.
To be a fly on the wall back then.
Man.
Oh, it was so much fun, man. I mean, having Will there, and then the Mossy Oak guys would be there. Cuz and and all of them were hunting there. And then Real Tree, of course. David Blanton and and all those guys would be in there. And, and everybody
That's
thinks
so cool.
everybody thinks we hate one another. Because you wear Real Tree, I don't like you. Well, that's not the case. I mean, so we would all go in there and eat and
the industry's small, and it was way smaller.
Oh, it was this big back then. You know, so
to time travel one time.
Yeah,
let's go have a beer there.
Oh man,
that would be because I'm a fan of
They'd
you guys in the hunting
tell us to
industry
piss
and-
off.
losers.
Nice tattoos.
We're on TV.
You walk in like that back then.
It was different then, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I'd have for sure have a felony or something at that time and day. But for the record, I don't. But I would if it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Or the early 90s anyway. But yeah, it's like that's cool to hear because, it's like I didn't know then in the early 90s it was still as crazy because I started hunting in 2000. I think I took my hunter safety course in 99 or something like that in there somewhere.
Sounds about right.
So it's neat to hear that before because, I mean, still, the early 2000s probably the ultra height because you guys had the 90s to like rise up in popularity through VHS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots of VHS sales.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What was your first, like when you're hunting, filmed hunt?
So that year, I ended up hunting in Mississippi quite a bit that year, and Louisiana. We used to hunt. There was a guy, I don't know if y'all remember him. His name was Will Walker. He was on there a lot. He owned a place that was called Cottonwood, and we would go over there. And it was Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi cornered right there. In a little town where I'm from, Lake Providence, it was right there. And I hunted quite a bit there. Now out of state that year, that was if I'm not mistaken, that was before Kansas was allowing non-resident hunters. Yeah. Because the first year that they allowed non-resident hunters, we actually hunted Kansas the first year that
isn't
they
that
did.
crazy to think?
Yeah,
that is crazy to think.
Yeah, we went. So
I bet you the people of Kansas would probably want that back.
If they could reverse that, they probably will.
Yeah.
Now this is a story that I think you'll enjoy. This is crazy. If I had to go back and do it over again, I would steal it from him. But Michael,
I love the honesty.
Michael Waddell and I we've been hunting together since '94. So he used to come down to Immokalee, Florida with us, and we hunted Osceola turkeys together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were down in Immokalee turkey hunting one year, and Brad Ferris that day, I had videoed him kill a turkey, and then we would swap up. That was the way Primos was. We always just swapped up whenever when we hunted. Well, Michael was down there with a he had a camera guy there that they were they were doing the same deal, and we were sitting in this old ratty motel down there in Immokalee, Florida, and we had these big camera, and we had RCA cables. I guess that's what you'd call them.
Jordan, you know what an RCA cable is?
They were red and white. Yeah. And,
He's thinking jumper cables from the car.
So
for sure.
we would come in and plug them from our camera into the back of these TVs. This was before
HDMI.
Yeah, before HDMI and flat screens. So
13-inch TV was big.
It was. Man.
We were sitting in there watching this hunt. It was just a really pretty hunt. This turkey comes strutting up through some cypress knees, and Brad just blowed his head off with 12 gauge, so Waddell walks in, and it just like all of us, walks everywhere with a mouth call in his mouth during turkey season. He walks in, he's yelping, and he walks in. He said, "Y'all know what I'm thinking about doing?" And we said, "What?" He said, "I'm thinking about starting a hunting show where you turn the camera on when you're at the house, and you video everything from there to the airport. And then when you get to the camp, you turn it on at the camp, video stuff at the camp, and video the hunt, and then afterwards video, packing up and going home." We said, "Michael, that's the stupidest thing we ever heard. ain't nobody going to watch that."
Because that wasn't even a thing in existence.
Well, the next year, you know what show came out?
Real Tree Road Trips.
Real Tree Road Trips.
So that would have been 01?
Yeah.
Right? 01, was it that early that Road Trip started?
It had to have been. It was right there.
Right in there. Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
It'd been like my freshman, sophomore year of high school, and that would have been about it.
And you're like, dang it, he made it work.
Yeah, I was like, "You sorry joker, man." I said, he took, not that we weren't doing reality TV with hunting, because it was reality, but what everybody was doing back then was hunting, and then we called it porch scenes. So you would see the hunt, and then it would come back, and then we would sit up there and talk about it and what happened and all that.
Well, you guys were the first hunting podcast in a way.
Really. It's true.
Different, but
they're
kind of
the same.
Exactly. So, he come in there, and all of us were like, "Man, that's a dumb idea. Ain't nobody going. Why is somebody gonna watch you pack your clothes? But the entertainment value that he brought to the hunting industry was, because he brought you into his whole world whenever he did that, and that's what catapulted Waddell, which he's got a personality out of this world anyway.
Right. Definitely.
But that's what catapulted him, up was that Real Tree Road Trips, and and all of us, we were so dumb. We were like, "Man, that's stupid."
I think that was like a cool time in outdoor content, though, man, because you think about it and think about Will and Primetime. We were talking about Primetime and Drury's earlier, all talking about how that was what raised us. And then I feel like being that age and having road trips. So I remember all my buddies were like, "Oh man, this is our show. This is us."
Yeah.
Like, he's showing what we go through. So it was like that next generation's kind of. So it was pretty neat to see that come to life and what he did with it.
Well, it's cool to hear those stories though, because I don't know, like I'm curious to see. That's something we need to put on the Spotify poll. Is like, did you grow up watching hunting TV? Write that down, Jordan, because I'll forget.
Well, I mean, our story's kind of the same, because we started a podcast, and a lot of older generations are like, what is that? That ain't like, what?
Even our generation's like, why?
Well, podcasting was a new media. Like
Oh, for sure. But
Waddell's format with that was new because that was like really was reality TV in general a thing in the early
Real
2000s?
World, MTV Real World. Yeah,
Right.
MTV Cribs.
Yeah, and MTV Cribs was part of it, but Real World was what was going
The
on.
first
right there.
reality type.
Yeah.
thing. Interesting. But there was no mainstream like reality shows besides. I mean, maybe there's a few I can't think of. I was
can't
so
think
young
of-
though.
Yeah, like no Bachelorette or Big Brother or anything like that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It wasn't far behind, but
So he was even like kind of ahead of his game on and
yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
TV in general.
Yeah.
everyone modeled their stuff after Michael Waddell.
Well, that's what
Take it
YouTube
out
is
of
now.
Yeah, man.
It was
You know?
so it was Steve Finch was his producer, and it was Steve and Michael's idea. And I don't know. I know y'all have had Michael on the podcast before. I don't know if he's talked about road trips much with y'all, but
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's he went into Bill's office and and just talked him into doing it. And Bill didn't believe in it at first, and but he did later.
it's like that first year. But I remember, the old intro where he's in that old. I can't remember what body style Chevy it was, but it had all the Realtree trimmed out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Fender flares.
with the fender flares, and it had the kind of like the flames coming down the side of it. Yep.
I wonder if we could.
I still have it. I still have the old red "Will Hunt for Food" hat that he had.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it had Realtree on the inside of the bill, and
Do you see our cardboard cutout over there, Waddy, holding the beef jerky sign?
I did see that.
I wonder if we. Oh man, Realtree Road Trips intro original. Let's see if I can spell. One highlights. Oh, this is it. Or is
There it is.
No, this is. Oh, this is March. That's too new.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was trying to find it just because it's nostalgic a little bit now, which is crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's somewhere on the internet, right? It's gotta be.
Gotta be.
You want to go pause that music, Jordan? Oh, it's gotta be on. Anyway, it's neat. It's cool to hear that. Just where like the start of the TV craze.
Yeah.
So it's like, could you actively feel the buildup of like how big outdoor television was, or did it feel that big to you while you were in it, or like what was the perception like?
Back then I was so busy or so into just hunting and into killing. I just gonna call it what
Getting
it
paid
is.
in blood, baby.
Yeah, we were.
I love that, dude.
We were.
That's a new T-shirt. Pay me in blood.
Yeah. We didn't really. We really didn't care. And this is going to sound kind of bad, but there was a lot of people that recognized us, and there was a lot of people that came up and and signed, wanted us to sign hats and want us to sign shirts and and all that. But they would come up and we'd be signing the shirt and we'd be like, "Hey, you got how much land you got?" We really didn't know what. It's kind of like when Will and Cuz started what they started. Whenever they come out with the first cassette tape of the truth about spring turkey hunting, they didn't know what they really were doing whenever they started that. They started something that people are doing now. That we owe Will and those guys
Pioneers.
so much. They're pioneers. So we really didn't know what we were doing. We were winging it, to be honest with you. All we were doing was just videoing hunting. We didn't, and we really didn't know that it was going to turn into what it's turned into today. We really
industry.
Yeah. I mean, Will. Will started he started Primos. Whenever he started, it was just a call business. So whenever he started started doing the VHS tapes, it was to market the calls.
Yeah,
it
calls,
wasn't to
right.
sell. He wasn't worried about really making money off of VHS tapes or DVDs until all of a sudden he was selling 400,000 of them, and then he was like, "Oh wait a minute,
They're
they're gonna do this. We're gonna make some money."
Yeah.
And then, like I was telling you earlier, the TV craze came around on Outdoor Channel, and we
What did it air on in the 90s? Like ESPN and
ESPN and CMT, country music.
was it?
Yeah,
TNN
CN
too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it TNT?
or TNN
TNN at that point in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's So
Yeah.
So before, so we Primo's Realtree was the first, would have been one of the first ones to air, like on TNN. We didn't air until Outdoor Channel. With Primo's, but like we were talking about it at supper tonight. We'll come in and they had the meeting and we'll come in and threw a pad down, and one of Will's things, Will has a lot of little quirky things about him, and one of the things that like whenever we worked there, you weren't allowed to use a red pen. He was the only person that was allowed to use a red pen. So when you saw something written in red, you knew it was
from him.
Yeah, it was from him.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he like I was telling you, he came in and threw a legal pad down in front of me and threw a black pen or whatever pen down, and I wrote the opening to Primo's Truth About Hunting.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the close, and I remember the last word, God willing, we'll see you again next week. That was the last thing that was said on it. But Will did a little, just a few little changes to it, and it stayed the same for like 15 years.
That's awesome. How long did it take you to write it?
Not long, really. I didn't know what I was doing. I was 25.
Whatever sounded good.
Barely a high school education at 25. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, okay, welcome to the Truth About Hunting. And I didn't really know what I was doing.
That's cool though.
But
that is awesome.
Yeah.
You're either really skilled or lucky guess,
but probably lucky guess.
He has a storytelling ability. He'll be humble about it.
Can you imagine though? Like I'm trying to picture myself in your shoes. It's like you're sitting there and all of a sudden write an intro to a television show. You're like,
and an outro.
What the hell does that even mean?
Yeah.
What are we?
What am I writing?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I felt too, to be honest with you. But yeah, Will, and I know this podcast has turned into a lot about Will Primo's, but he is one of my heroes.
He's a pioneer, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's like I said, the reason I'm sitting here today. But Will would keep legal pads, and every day he would come to work. He was always the first one there and the last one to leave. He'd get there at 4 a.m. just about every day, and he'd start out with he'd put the date on the top of whatever page it was on the legal pad, and he would make notes throughout the day on that legal pad. And then the next day he would start on another page. Well, he had a huge filing cabinet in his office, and he filed those legal pads. So if he wanted to go back to January 3rd of 1996 at 6 o'clock to know what he said,
he could do it.
He could do it.
Jeez.
You couldn't stump him on nothing. I don't care what it was. You wouldn't. So like naming the calls. That was something that we did a lot of. Was he would bring us all in the video team, and we would come in and and name elk calls. We would all write down what we would want to name an elk call. One of them was the Terminator. And we had the Hoochie Mama.
I was just getting ready to ask. I want to know who named the Hoochie Mama.
Who did the Hoochie
Will Primo's named the Hoochie Mama.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
All right.
and he gave nobody any choice on that one. He came in and he said, I want to introduce y'all to a new call. It's called the Hoochie Mama. We were like, you can't call it that way. And he said, I can do what I want to do. I own this.
It's
thing.
in red pen.
In the 90s, Hoochie Mama.
That's the first elk call I ever got, and we're in Colorado over the counter, not knowing just.
There has been more elk killed with that little call probably than any other call out there.
The Hoochie Mama.
The Hoochie Mama.
But I did not sound like an elk because I just same monotone.
You and 1,000 other guys in Colorado.
Yeah.
So
I was like, hell yeah, that sounds good.
So here's something else that so in the early years at Primo's, like I said, we didn't make a ton of money. So Will would let us bring calls home during the off season and build calls at home. So I was decent at blowing a duck call. So the winch duck call, I would bring parts home, you know, the bale and the barrels and the blocks and the reeds and I'd bring them home and build duck calls over the weekend for 25 cents a piece and test every one of them. I'd have to sit there and test every one of them for 25 cents a piece and build them. And me and my wife, we that was part of our income.
I was just gonna say, you didn't have a girlfriend very long.
We didn't. Yeah, we were building duck calls. Yeah. So, but so he would.
How many could you do in a weekend?
Oh man, 500.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I could build 500 in a weekend.
That's good. A little bonus, for
Oh yeah.
$125.
Yeah.
Were you building duck calls the whole weekend?
From till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Just cranking them out.
Yeah, just cranking them out. Just throw them in a box.
Gotta do something.
Watching TNN.
Yep.
Building duck calls.
Yep. That and I built those and I built the actually the Hoochie Mama. I built a lot of those.
Yeah.
So that was just an extra way that Will allowed us to make money.
Kind of like a little incentive.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
That is cool. That's really cool, I think.
Yeah.
The hustle, man.
Yep.
It's neat to hear that stuff. It's like, that's the cool thing about, all right, maybe like podcasting in the hunting world, it's like necessary because it's like we're talking at dinner. The hunting industry it's been around a long time, but the modern, it's not much before 1980.
Right.
In the media side of things, right? Like you had manufacturers, of course, but you never really got to see, with the exception of like Fred Bear, or maybe I just don't know about it. You don't see a lot of footage and like consumable content.
Magazines, really, that's all that.
Magazines, writing.
Yeah, writers were the Kenneth Lancasters and the Mike Waddells of the world back in, I'd say, probably the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right? Yeah, print was like what TV was in the 90s and the early 2000s. And now it's internet, whatever that is. Like, we're internet. YouTube's internet,
And that's something we used to do a lot too that you don't see a lot of nowadays is we used to take a lot of writers on hunts. They actually wouldn't hunt. They would just go and be there.
Right.
And
so they can tell the story.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. But I guess podcasting came into the space at the right time because now we can like document some of these, like, looking back on the come up of what the modern hunting industry is. I think it's neat. I nerd out on it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, who else is going to hear those stories?
Yeah, how else would you talk about this right now?
Yeah.
I mean, you could, a podcast, I was going to say, but it's like,
yeah.
What else would you have to like bullshit about? It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Right.
So it kind of just adds in. But do you remember, let me ask you this, and maybe you don't. Do you remember when podcasting, like what's the first time you heard about podcasting and hunting? And the only reason why I ask you that is because you've seen this evolution of modern hunting media. So I'm curious, like, what if you heard about it? Do you remember hearing about it? And what was your thought on it?
I don't remember exactly whenever I heard the first, about the first podcast, but I was a big fan of it. And the reason why is because of what we're doing right now. Is because I feel like that a lot of what, and I hate to say we because I don't even like to put myself in a category of a Will Primos and
permission here.
Okay.
I for sure would.
Just, but what we did in those days would be lost without guys like y'all willing to sit down and listen to our old crazy stories and and that stuff and let us tell those stories. Otherwise it wouldn't, we wouldn't be able to get it out there.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool with podcasts and I like the no holds barred kind of deal, with podcasts because I mean it's just like we're sitting around a campfire right now, just telling stories and being able to tell it like it is, instead of having to hide it. I mean, it's I saw Roger Ragland on social media a few years ago say something that I just really liked. He was up early one morning drinking some coffee, and he said, I'm up going hunting this morning. He said, I don't need any deer meat and I don't need any more horns on the wall. I'm going to kill a deer this morning because I like killing deer.
I love the honesty.
I love that.
I like killing deer.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And I mean, and you know, and I get tired of us having to, you know, our show is, you know, never apologize.
Right.
But we mean that we don't mean it in a bad way. We're not like sticking the middle finger up to somebody saying, you know, we're not going to apologize to you, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're not going to apologize. You know,
Right.
this is our God-given
we are.
right,
Yeah.
you know, to hunt. And that's kind of how we named the show, or I named it actually, The Given Right was from that you know, what we say, you know, never apologize for your God-given right to hunt. We just took the given right out of the middle of it and named it that. But getting back to what you said, that's what I like about podcasts is you can say whatever you want to say, and you can do what you want to, you know, you can do it how you want to do it. And like I said, you let us old guys come in and tell our stories. You know?
And that's honestly, like, for me, that's the best part. We bring these guests in and they tell these old stories, and you're like,
where else would we hear that?
yeah, where else would we hear that? Anywhere but here.
Yeah.
The nostalgia's fun.
It's so awesome.
I look at it in a weird way. I like to think of it as like podcast now in the industry. You know, I hate the industry is an overplayed term, but you can hear me out. But I like thinking of it as what like Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien was to like movies and actors and stuff when that was like in its peak for hunting.
Yeah.
Because hunting and what it's done for, I mean, on multiple levels, from conservation to influence to keeping kids into it. I got into it because of hunting media. I liked it, motivated me to go hunting. I watch hunting videos. I'm like, oh, I gotta go hunting.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if my passion for hunting would be the same without watching you guys sit on the front porch cutting it up and then smacking elk and deer and turkeys and monster bucks and Drury growing up. I don't think it would be as into it.
It made you hunt 5 times harder than
Hell yeah.
what you probably would have.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
Because like even if you're not seeing deer, I mean, you're watching deer get killed. You're like, I mean, that could be me.
I like
it
it
out there.
100%.
I like that. Yeah. But I like to think
I
of
like
us,
that.
not us exactly. One of those things is like, not, you know, we say not we, whatever, but putting it on that platform. But I want it to be like, oh yeah, you got to do WCB. Like, somebody like, oh man, you got on Conan. Like, I think that's a neat way to think of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of it. And maybe like a subconscious way. But anyway, that's off that.
It's important, man. You think back to it and think like the initial hunters, the cavemen, and they had a media platform as well, and it was the walls. You know, and you look at it, I'm like, seriously, you think about it. It's all like our heritage has been passed down through storytelling.
Yeah.
And this is the modern form of it, you know? So you're right. It's important.
Wow, never thought of it that way.
Make no mistake, and I mean this in the most sincere way. This is a big deal for me to be on this podcast.
Oh yeah, man.
Really?
It really is. It means a lot to me.
Sure about that?
Unless y'all take it and make me look stupid. No, I'm being serious. I mean, I've wanted to do this for, you know, I've been a big fan, and I've wanted to do this for a long time.
I appreciate that.
Well, it's an honor to have you in here.
Yeah, for sure.
Feelings mutual, man. It's crazy like that's even a thing that you would say.
Well,
say or even think.
Clip that.
Clip that, Jordan. Yeah, well, we appreciate that, man. Yeah, right there. We're at a 1:01:22. But no, man, I think it's cool to talk about it. We appreciate you here, but we still got more to talk about. And I want to talk about, you know, your involvement with the Given Right. I want to talk elk, and I want to talk whitetails still. And let's just talk of the evolution of, like, you know, Primos, obviously, and then now what you're a part of now. Like, where was that transition, and how did that all go? And
so it all kind of goes back to Waddell a little bit. So I had actually thought I was going to get out of the hunting industry. I thought
really?
I was, I thought after I got married and I had my first child in 2005, I was trying to transition into something and not travel so much. I thought that's what I wanted to do. And so I had taken a job in, it would have been 2006 with a sporting goods store, a large sporting goods store. It's called Vans Deer Processing and Sporting Goods. It's a huge deer processing place. I didn't have anything to do with the deer processing.
Awesome gun collection, by the way, if you ever get the chance.
It's
It's like a Southern franchise?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's got 2 stores, one in Brandon, Mississippi, and one in Coleman, Alabama.
Okay.
And just huge, super good guy. And anyway, I went to work for him, and I had left Primos, and I left Primos one time, and then went back to Primos, and then left again. Primos sold, and it just wasn't the same.
Pretty common.
It just became a lot more corporate, and it was just different than what it didn't have the same feel to it that it had when I was there the first time. I still love them, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it just didn't have the same feel. So I left and went back, but I was miserable. Doing what I was doing just because I just didn't feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
I hear.
Sure.
And so my wife she kept on me, and she was like, "You need to figure something out. This is, you're miserable." So one day I was just sitting around and on my front porch, and I pulled up my phone, and I pulled up David Blanton's number. And I was like, I hadn't talked to David in a while. I'm going to call him. So I called David and just got to talking to him. And David, being the guy he is, he said, "Kenny, you didn't call me just to talk. What you called me about?" And I said, "Well, David," I said, I'm kind of thinking about getting back in the industry. I said, "But I really don't know how or what I want to do, And he said, "Let me think on a couple of days. I'll call you back."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Well, about probably a week later, a 706 number popped up on my cell phone. But me and my wife were out to eat, and that 706 number popped up, and I looked, and I was like, 706. Well, I answered. I said, "Georgia." I answered it, and it was Waddell. "Kenny, what you doing, boy?"
That was really good. That was good.
I said, "Man, I'm sitting here eating catfish with my wife. What's going on?" "Nothing, man. I started this new show called Bone Collector." I said, "Yeah." I said, I've been watching it. He said, You want to come and be a part of it with me?" I said, "Well, sure." I said, what do you want me to do? What are you thinking? He said, "Well, you ain't forgot how to kill stuff, have you?" I said, "Well, no." I said, I'm still doing that. I said, "I've only been out of it for about 8 months." I said, I hadn't forgot that. He said, "Well, all right. Well, I'll see you in Texas in 2 days." I was like, "Well, huh?" He said, "Yeah." He said, he said, we're going to go down, and Craig Morgan's going to be there, and we're going to, Nick and T-Bone's going to be there. He said, "Just come." And he said, I'll get you a bow and, all this, everything. Just come down to Texas. So I jumped in the truck and quit what I was doing and went to Texas and started, jump right back into it with Michael. And so fast forward about 2 months, we went to the Dixie Deer Classic in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys came up to the booth and invited us to come and turkey hunt at the Biltmore Plantation in North Carolina.
Okay.
So Michael didn't go, and he told me, he said, "You go." He said, "Go down and film a show or whatever." Well, these guys kind of had ulterior motive about me coming down there. They wanted to start a show, is what they wanted to do. So I went down there and turkey hunted, and we ended up talking, and they invested in me and started a show at the time that was called Antler Insanity. That I had that show for 3 years. So I ran that show for 3 years. Michael actually he actually helped me out with it and produced it for me. Back whenever he had a production company back then, and he helped me, produce it.
So he never talks about his production company.
Yeah.
Or very rarely, I guess.
Yeah, he did it. He didn't have a whole lot to do with it. He had some other guys, Steve Finch and those guys that worked for him, and he didn't really. He wasn't hands on with it a whole lot, but he did own it.
Ownership in it and let it do its thing.
Yeah, just let it. Yeah, probably mailbox money for him. But,
which is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, good for him.
So
maybe get me one of those.
Yeah, no kidding. So anyway, Big and J, who is one of our really good sponsors right now, one of our top sponsors, they were interested in buying the show. So they ended up buying the guys out that were working with me, bought their interest out in the show, and I partnered with Big and J. And then that's when we renamed the show The Given Right, and we started it over and under a new name. And we sat down. We were joking about this the other day, but the logo, which I think Laden hates. But anyway,
Not true.
I drew the logo in Grand Island, Nebraska, with a Sharpie and a napkin. That's exactly what it's just a little stick man dragging a deer is what it is. If you
got it on your hat.
Yeah, it's on your hat.
Yeah, that's it. That logo, I drew that right there. You can tell I'm a great artist.
But it's it's pretty rad. I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Did you hear that? It's rad, dog.
I said it's rad. I just said, like,
No cap, brother.
We got to find a way to throw. We got to find a way to throw a turkey over our shoulder, our other shoulder. That's all I said.
Laden is. I'm just kidding. Laden is awesome at coming up with new stuff, and I want it. I really want that to be, redone in some different ways. But anyway,
I'm a fan. What do the kids say? How would you describe that? Like a kid, Jordan? You're one of them.
Describe what?
The logo. You like it? What's a phrase that kids say that?
It's pretty cool. I don't know.
Okay. Well.
It's pretty cool.
Thanks, Jordan.
Wow. Thanks for not giving me.
Thanks for your input. I don't know.
That's like 1970s, bro. Cool.
I don't know. That's cool.
But anyway, so
I don't know what you wanted me to say.
Pretty cool's back. Apparently, Pretty cool's back.
All right.
It's back. It's in.
Jordan just brought it back.
It's rad.
So during this time, Tyler Weaver, who is our
DP. Director of production.
Yeah, director of production. He was at the time a freelance cameraman, and he was friends with Mark Heck. He had met Mark at Mossback, out there filming some hunts for Mossback, and met Mark. Well, Mark hired Tyler just to go on some hunts with him and video him. Well, Tyler told me he actually was freelancing some for Bone Collector, and Michael sent Tyler on a bear hunt with me, which that's a funny story. A very first bear hunt that Tyler had ever been on. We go into where we're going to hunt, and so we get to the stand. The outfitter takes us into the stand, and it's not big enough for two people. So we get this bright idea. Tyler's going to get down on the ground and make him a little, just a little blind on the ground, and we was going to take my pull-up rope, and I was going to tie it to my belt loop and run the pull-up rope down to him, and if he saw a bear, he was going to pull on the pull-up rope, and if I saw one before him, I'd pull on the pull-up rope. Well, we just sat down, and and being the serious hunter I am, I pulled my phone out and pull up Doodle Jump, and start playing Doodle Jump on my phone. Well, I'm sitting there, and I feel this rope, and I forgot what we were doing, the whole rope thing, and I'm like, I'm doing like this, and I'm playing. I'm like, dude, I'm like to get to my high score, and I'm like, man, and I turn around, and he's looking up at me going, doing this, and I look, and there's a cinnamon bear, like a 300-pound cinnamon bear, standing 5 yards from him, just staring him down, and he's got the camera on the bear, pulling on the rope, looking at me, going, kill him. So I drew back and shot him and killed the bear. So I saved his life. I mean, So
we got Danny, lifesaver. We're checking a lot of boxes.
Man, So
that's awesome.
So anyway, so that's how I met Mark, and so then Big and J wanted to transition out of the show, so Mark took over the show. So and then Laden came in, and so now it's myself and Mark and Laden. So that's kind of the progression of how it all.
That's cool, man.
That's so awesome.
It's like it all just happened the way it was supposed to happen.
It feels right to me. I mean, it's we've got a really good team right now, and we've got a ton of Well, I say a ton. We've got Laden can tell more about that as far as our portfolio and as far as the give and right, as far as the companies that we own.
XE brands.
Yeah.
So Expedition Archery and Titan Hunting Blinds and Element Outdoor Clothing and so several. We land management company, a sourcing company, and there's 12 total brands right now in the portfolio.
Damn, you guys want to buy a podcast?
Damn. Yeah. Hey, careful what you ask for.
I know I should quiet down, but how much?
There it is.
So Mark. So here's your funny story about Mark. Mark wanted to go to the ATA show, and this would have been probably 2015, I would think, maybe 16, right around in there. He wanted to go to the ATA show, and it was pretty big then. That time
was that
there.
probably the peak of ATA in that time?
I would say so. Yeah,
right in there.
It was
give or take 3 years in that buffer. Yeah,
it was kicking, and I took Mark to the ATA show. He wanted to go. Yeah, there you go. It was kicking. Yeah,
I started using that one. That's a good one. Let me write that down.
Write that down.
Bring it back.
So Mark walks around the ATA show with me, and he goes to the meetings with potential partners and partners that we had and everything, and never said a word the whole time we were there. Just, other than just small talk, but he didn't really interject much about what was going on. But I could tell he was walking around just kind of
taking it all in,
soaking it all in.
Yeah.
Well, we got home, and about 4 days later, he called me and he said, "I don't know about this hunting business. Y'all doing everything backwards."
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He said, "I'm going to show you how to do it right." And I said, "Sign me up, bro. Let's do it." So,
let's go.
Yeah, what do you know?
Yeah. So,
what do you mean backwards?
I don't get it.
He said, you are doing all the work and then praying that you get paid at the end. He said, "You need to get paid a little along, if you can, Right. So anyway, it was kind of that, but anyway, Mark is one of the things that I think Mark is really, really good at, other than killing a bunch of really big stuff, is taking businesses that are not doing so well and turning them around. He's just got a magic finger, for that. And
he's got a real eye for talent and opportunity. Like he can walk in and kind of assess the situation. It's funny you said he was quiet the whole time, because that's one thing. If
that's
Mark's
how
quiet,
he's thinking.
he's thinking, and he'll tell you straight up. You get in a room full of people that like to talk, and he'll sit and listen. He'll be like, "I'm not as smart as you guys," or I'm a little slower than you all are. And then 2 days later, you'll get a phone call. He's like, "All right, so I've been thinking for the last 48 hours, and probably every one of those last 48 hours,
right?
And he's got a plan."
Exactly.
And,
that is cool. See, and I'm not like super duper familiar with all the brands that you guys are involved with. I mean, I've heard of them, right? But like it's kind of like in a section that we don't have a ton of experience as far as like partnerships go. But I will say, when you see companies get like kind of maybe not necessarily Primo's example, you're saying like things change when companies get acquired by just big acquisition companies and partnerships. You see the soul get sucked out of them a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But I will say the brands I do know that are involved with you guys, that it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I mean, we all know what I'm saying. There's
I know what you're saying.
notorious groups that just
oh yeah, man.
consume companies and then they just soul suck.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like, what happened to that brand?
Yeah.
And we could probably all name 10 off the top of our heads.
Oh,
if not 100. Yeah.
It's kind of a problem a little.
Yeah.
In the hunting space, but
it's like good old profit maximization theory that we all learned, and when we went to school, and it's been applied. And unfortunately, like, man, you hear it all the time. Like guys come in, they say, "Oh, I'm going to change the industry." To Mark's point, like, he said, "Hey, you're doing all backwards," but he didn't try to change the industry. He just tried to apply thought processes to something that already worked.
Right.
And,
it's an industry of rednecks, dude.
And that's what's cool. Like you guys met him, you saw how he operates. He's a redneck too, from Southwest Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
So he gets it. He's like, "Oh man, I've been in the service business my whole life. I get this." And steps right in. But man, and then just the opportunity we've had to grow, and what's neat about our portfolio is that with every brand, that he doesn't step in and buy a brand and we roll on down the street. No, it's always a partnership, because he wants you to have stake in the game. So he'll step in and
The
and he'll
soul
find a-
stays in it.
It stays in it, and then when we need something, a new resource like Hunt Camp Company, it was founded out of a need for digital paid media, and somebody that could specialize, because we were having such a hard time finding somebody in the industry that would just answer the dang phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody to answer the phone, man, and we needed it. We needed it bad, and not only did we need it, Mark. I was telling Mark, man, I had another conversation with somebody, and they need help with paid media. And he's like, well, do you know a couple guys? I said, ironically,
Yeah.
I do. And
Yeah.
here comes Hunt Camp Company, another great brand that we've added to the portfolio. So it's cool stuff, man, that we've got going on, and no matter the brand. And TGR, what's cool about TGR is we just got, a full staff of talented people that just love and are passionate about good content and other good people, man. So it's been pretty cool for us, man.
And they're hunters. That's one of the things that I've always one of the things that Will Primoz said whenever I was younger that stuck out is he always said you can you can't take a cameraman and teach him how to hunt, but you can take a hunter and teach him how to run a camera.
Yeah.
And
That's very well said. Yeah.
And and that's not. Of course you can learn to hunt, but but if you can take a guy that's a skilled hunter and and teach him how to run a camera. But if you take somebody that's 35 years old, never walked in the woods before, they can run the wheels
Steep
off
learning
a
curve.
camera, but
Yeah.
they don't
Grew
know
up in
when
the
to
city,
move.
yeah.
Don't
They'll be
know when
filming
to move.
birds or something.
Yeah.
Some
So-
gay liberal from the inner city. See, now you can't say anything worse than I say, so you're safe.
No, you can't, man. They can feel the situation. They can sense what's going to happen. They got. I have an idea.
Oh man.
Sorry, I got one per episode.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to behave.
That wasn't that bad though.
Trying to behave lately.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
My bad.
mean-
My goal is to make the guests feel more comfortable by saying the worst shit.
I am totally comfortable.
He can finally relax after an hour and 19 minutes.
He's like, "Cow, I was waiting on that."
My turn.
I have no chance of a political career ever. And
Me either.
I don't think I did anyway, but
If I did, it's gone because of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that and the tattoo, maybe. The tattoo may have done it.
On my butt?
Yeah.
It's just on my butt.
Everyone knows about it.
It's just on my butt.
why'd you say butt so weird?
My butt?
On my butt?
My butt?
My butt. I don't know.
I'm getting a southern accent sitting over here.
Yeah, rubbing
I'm
off
surprised
on
I don't have one at this point. Rolling around deep. Well, it's funny. So we talked at Illinois Deer and Beer Fest.
Yep.
And first of all, you had to have felt left out last time the Given Right Boys were in the studio.
Oh, I did.
I felt bad about it, honestly.
Yeah. I was in Pennsylvania at TAC. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
You got a shout out, though.
Yeah, I did get a shout out, but that still wasn't enough. I wanted
more.
I needed it. You're finally getting it. So then we talked at Illinois Deer and Beer Fest.
Yep.
And we were bullshitting, and it's like, man, you gotta come do the podcast. And you're like, started explaining. I'm like, hey, I know who you are. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're humble, right? So you're not gonna be like, well,
You know who I am?
Yeah, you know who I am. Have me on the pod. You're like going in. You're like, I'm like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
Well,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I remember it. Man, that's one thing I just never take for granted that somebody knows who I am.
Yeah, for sure. So I thought that was funny, but so I'm glad it worked out because when you called me, didn't you, or did you text me?
I text you.
Yeah. We were sitting at Michael Lee's parents' place in South Georgia, and I'm like, oh, look who just texted me. He's like, call that fucker. So called you up, and then you had just killed an elk.
Yeah.
And you were on your way home?
I had just gotten home.
Yeah. That's right. So let's talk about this elk, because you sent me a picture, and I'm like, jeez, man.
Yeah. We
it's in this email, right?
Let's see. Yeah, the first picture on the far left,
Yep.
right there. Yep. That's him right there. Woo. Yep. So this is going to be an interesting little piece of footage right here, to say the least. And it's been a topic amongst our whole team for the last 2 days, and we've been trying to figure out how to do this.
Okay, I remember this conversation.
And do this is tastefully the right word to
Yeah,
use?
yeah, I say tasteful. Yeah,
Yeah. So here's the story on the elk. So to me it's a beautiful hunt.
What state were you in?
In Colorado.
Colorado,
We were
okay.
in southern Colorado. This elk was he had a bunch of cows with him and had some other smaller bulls with him. And anyway, we got to calling to him. He started bugling, come barreling down a hill to us. And he comes to 25 yards just straight in front of me. And I'm at full draw. And I can shoot this elk dead on right here if I want to at 25 yards. No doubt it's a killing shot.
Yeah, that's a shot you see fairly often, I feel like, in elk hunting videos.
Yeah. But I've been elk hunting for so long, and it's my favorite thing to do as far as hunting. And so one of the things that I like to do is to make I love to have them inside of 20 yards if I can get them there. Top pin range, broadside, and just 12 ring them.
Right.
Well, I've got two guys back behind me calling that are about 80 yards behind me, and this elk doesn't even know I'm in the world. I'm backed up in some juniper bush, and I've got a cameraman standing right to my right, Jordan, and he's hand holding with a DSLR camera.
Yeah, I was doing really good.
Yeah, he's
I had it on.
No cap.
Yeah.
He's hand holding, and so I decide not to take this head on shot because he's coming and he's going to end up like 10 yards broadside.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just stay at full draw, and he's coming. Well, I'm getting ready, and I got a mouth call in my mouth, and I'm just gonna cow call to him and stop him, just like that, and stop, and he'll turn and boom, just 12 ringing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm following him, and all of a sudden he comes to a stop like a Duramax doing 120, and you slam on the brakes. Just kicking dirt.
Yeah.
And looks at me like this, and I'm like, what in the, well, I'm on him, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to kill him.
Yeah.
Well, I start to squeeze because I'm still not going to just jerk the shot. I'm still squeezing through the shot, and I'm having to shoot him because he's quartered to me a little bit. I'm having to shoot him right here, which is going to drive right here, not in the shoulder, but in right here, and it's going to drive out, right through here.
Yep.
Well, you can ask Laden. The second that the arrow leaves the bow, this bull whirls into me, not away from me, and that's normally what they do is whirl away from you. Mm-hmm. He whirls into me, and he comes in like this, and I hit him in the neck on the opposite side of the bull.
Oh, he really spun.
And he turns like this, and
the arrow literally goes right by his nostril and goes in right here into his carotid artery, and
right in the jugular.
Yeah, carotid and jugular. When he turns and runs off, there is blood.
You can see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh. You can hear me when I shoot. You hear me go, "Oh God!" Because I thought I just made the most awful shot in the world. How did I hit him?
Yeah.
On the opposite side of where in the neck, on the other side of him.
Right.
You can't even aim there. You know what I mean? There's no way. You can't see it to aim there.
The spot you hit, you couldn't even see.
There's no way.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's like that wasn't even an option.
No. So he runs off and goes over the hill, and I turned and looked at Jordan, and I told Jordan, I said, I have no idea what happened, but he's dead.
He's bleeding like a stuff.
Every step is just, and it's almost gory in a way. It's
a little bit.
You know, but I grew up.
But we expect it, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna make a bad shot, that's the best bad shot.
And
not that you made a bad shot, it's just bad luck. But also good luck.
And this is where we started to have like the talk about it, because man, you slow it down, and so many times like we've seen the pointer and we've seen the line, and you can see the animal drop, and Kenneth couldn't have put that arrow in a more perfect spot. Like as far as where it was supposed to hit on that animal when he's here, that's where the arrow went. And he moved. It's just bow hunting.
He moved,
man.
yeah.
It's just part
That's
of
just
bow
bow
hunting.
hunting, yeah.
There's
It's bow
nothing
hunting.
you could have done at that point.
Yeah. I mean, and I was sick. I mean, I really was. I mean, I was just like,
We've all been there, in some way.
Yeah.
Sure.
you know, on elk, knock on wood, I've shot, you know, in the 20s in elk with archery tackle, and I've never lost one. And I'm knocking again. Never lost one.
Yeah.
Everybody knock. Never lost one.
Everybody.
Do it now.
You know. So
Archery tackle. I like that.
So I'm thinking, you know, when he's running off, I'm thinking, you know, I shoot every day of my life, and I got an elk at 12 yards, and I just hit him in the neck on the other side. How did this happen? You know. So anyway, we go up, give him a little while, and we go up and where he went, and there's just blood like you could just pour it out, you know, with a bucket, literally. You hear that cliche, but it was, I've never seen a blood trail like it in my life.
Right.
We walk up there, and the elk's laying there dead. Well, I turned around to the camera, and these were the words I used. I said, look, I don't have any excuse. I can't explain it. I said, y'all just go ahead right now and start typing on social media and beat me up. I said, and you can beat me up on TV. You can beat me up on whatever platform you want to beat me up on. But the elk's dead. The good Lord let me, you know, somehow hit something good and not hit him in the nose. And you know, I don't know how I did it, but he's going in the back of my truck and he's going back home to Mississippi with me. You know, that's all I know to tell you. You know, you know,
it's honest.
I'm not apologizing. I'm owning it, but I'm not apologizing.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm owning it. I don't know what happened. So we're sitting there. I actually FaceTimed Laden while I was sitting there, you know, over the bull. He was hunting about an hour and a half or 2 hours from me, and anyway, we got to talking about it, and Jordan was over there looking at the footage, and while we were gutting the bull and getting ready to get him out, and Jordan said, "Hey Kenneth, come here, I want to show you something." And I walked over there and I said, "What?" He said, "Man, it was my fault." And I said, "Your fault? What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, the elk saw me." And I said, "Well, how did he see you?" I said, "You were behind me. There's no way he saw you." And he said, "Watch the footage." So if you watch the footage, I'm in between Jordan and the bull. Well, when the bull gets to right here, I'm blocking Jordan. So Jordan does his job. He's there to capture the hunt.
Yeah.
You know, he comes around me like this to make sure he sees the impact of the arrow on the bull, and the bull saw him. And so
the bull's at what, 6-7 yards?
Yeah,
I mean, like you understand, like the footage is epic with that bull coming in and stopping, like right there.
Do you guys have it on you somehow where we could watch it here at the studio after the podcast?
Oh yeah, we got it. I've got it on the phone. Yeah, we'll show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he, he saw a mountain lion. You know, I mean, there was a mountain lion in that juniper bush that was fixing to jump on his back. That's what he saw when Jordan does this.
Yeah.
And so that's why he did, what he did. So now we're, one of our, like you say, never apologize for your God-given right to hunt. Well, it's like I said earlier, I didn't name this show The Given Right, and I don't say never apologize, throwing a middle finger up at you, saying, I'm gonna go out here and shoot an elk in the neck,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that.
Smoke
It's
him in the
not
heart,
that.
yeah.
Not that.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean by that.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is I'm not going to apologize to you for being a hunter, you know, and being able to, have my right to do that. That's, but do you? That's what we're trying to figure out right now. We have a second angle with another camera that shows a wide angle, and you see the impact, but you don't see the gore.
Yeah,
you don't,
right.
You don't see the blood. We'll show you later.
Yeah.
You don't see the blood gushing.
It's one of those moments where we'd all watch it and we go, and everyone has had the same response, like, and we expect it because it's bow hunting, we know it, know, and it's kind of like and that's like, I think that's where you're going with it. Is we've had, how long did we talk about this yesterday?
Oh man, way longer than I wanted.
Yeah, because and it's been interesting just among our team. We got We got a social manager. We got 3 guys on the digital marketing side at Hunt Camp. You got myself. You got Mason Waddell, our social media director. We got 6 guys on the staff, and Mark and Chris, and we're all just kind of, well, you know, and we're trying, you know, we're working on building our brand, and you know, and we're good representation of what we do, and trying to be mindful of the second that gets picked up in the wrong way, if it's because everything goes to digital and social media. Yeah. Like, man, you know, so we're just, and we all know, like, to Kenneth's point, like, we're going to show it one way or another. It gets shown, and we're going to tell a story because we think it's a great teaching moment, man, for everybody. Because, like we said, we're all going to go
advertisement for Rage and Muzzy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that was something that was said.
It was said. Yeah, for sure. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Not seeing it.
Yeah.
Here's what I would like to see. Because in my eyes, if you're like, I made a bad shot I'm a bow hunter, right?
Right.
A non-bow hunter. Gay inner city liberal, if we will.
All right.
You already stated that, so it doesn't count for a second time.
Okay.
You're good.
I'll get harsher as we go on.
Oh God.
They might hate it, but like, okay, the shot. Oh shit. Okay, that actually we're gonna be all right. That because to me, it's like that's a relief. Like, okay, this isn't gonna just be a wounded animal that's gonna suffer. Like that, it's still fatal. He's gonna die right over there. I think for the bow hunting community, I think that footage is intriguing and kind of neat and shows the reality of crazy shit that can happen. I wouldn't cut reels out of it and put it on Instagram.
Right. That's what we're worried about. Yeah. You answer our question.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Now,
people are going to cut that.
And that's the other part of it. And so we've been talking a lot about, well, how do you control the situation? And again, we're not going to be deceitful about it. We want people to see that it happens. It's a story. And I think, okay, to the point of the 5 of 6 of us sitting around, 5 of us, I can't count yet. The 5 of us sitting around this table and looking at a guy like Kenneth, a guy that we trust, a guy that's proven himself, he's validated himself. I mean, whether it's, you know, the flats or the foothills of Montana shooting whitetails or shooting 20 different elk on the truth, like, we trust this guy and he's a mentor to us. He is. Yeah. That's just the way it is. So to have that teaching moment of him being able to look at it and say, look, guys, at some point, if you haven't experienced it, it's not a matter of will you or won't you, it's when will you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
You know? And having a guy like him be able to say, like, hey, you trust me, like, this is how I handled it. I didn't run from it, but this is how we should handle it as a community. I think it sets a good example, man, for us.
Yeah.
It's too good of a teaching moment. And I will tell you, out of respect for the animal, that footage is incredible. Like when you see this bull coming in and just screaming at it's just one of those moments, and there's more of it out there now, but it's gonna be one of those moments that people are gonna watch that scene, they're gonna be like, okay, I want to go elk hunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't, and you know, again, like with everything we do, we document it to help tell stories. Yeah, we're in the business of content, no doubt about it. Wouldn't deny that at all, but that's part of that's a big part of the reason why we do what we do as a brand is we want other people to join us, man. Like we want to grow the community. And so we'd be doing a huge disservice to go, sorry. And this is not fair, but I'm not classifying all traditional media, but where there used to be a pretty good lens, and if things didn't go right, a lot of folks would say, table it. Sorry, it didn't work out. Let's go find another opportunity.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're one short this year, whatever it is. And I just think it's an opportunity, again, not only for our brand to say, hey, this is who we are, and you can trust in us, but it's a teaching moment for the community. And so
that anything could happen.
I think either way, now there's a bunch of hype about it. Now that all our listeners are like, well, we got to see this.
Now you got it.
It's coming. It's definitely, we've edited it and we've got 2 different versions. And
Is there when will that be available?
Like next week.
Oh shit!
Wow.
So by the time this launches, it'll be out.
I would tell you, and this is not planned. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, we came up with it." No, but it's not planned, and we're talking about it now. But we just launched the first promo reel of the elk bugling and everything, that bull bugling this afternoon or this evening. Mason posted it. So
where people want to because that'll be launched before this episode launches. Where can people go watch it?
Yeah, so the Given Right Facebook, Given Right Instagram, and then our YouTube page. So we've got. We optimize our content for the platform. We got different long form.
And at this point, it's out, so we'll just link it in the description.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I'd love to hear people's thoughts on it because I think this is one of those cool bonding moments where we kind of get a real read on
Should
the bow
we put
hunting
an elk
industry.
poll on the Spotify episode? You can do that.
Yeah, man.
So here we'll do that elk poll.
Elk poll.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Pull it.
Okay. And then we'll do another one. Is Doug gay? Can we throw that one on there?
No, we're not doing
Is
that.
Doug gay?
You know, the
100% yes.
Change the subject, please.
He already voted. Let go of that.
And here's where I'm at with that is with something like we were talking about earlier is people can get to you now so much easier than what they could back whenever I first started, you know, because of social media.
Right.
So the second that airs, the people are, you know, what do you call them? The concrete
commandos, mall ninjas.
Yeah, they gonna come out.
What ninjas?
Mall ninjas.
You know, they gonna come out of the woodwork and I can't believe he hit him there.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you showed that. You know, all of this, but you've got to watch the whole hunt to understand why it happened. You can't. That's why the reel thing. You know, you can't have just a 10-second reel of it or a 30-second reel of it, and then not being able to explain what happened.
Right.
You know. We actually did a like Laden was saying, we did a little deal where you can see where my pin is on the elk, and so we put a dot right there. And then we actually showed the arrow hit, or we put the dot on the arrow and then reversed it, and then it comes back and you see that dot sitting right where it's
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know,
That should explain everything.
Yeah.
But it just, you know, I'm one of the guys on social media that it's hard for me to.
He stirs everybody up.
Yeah,
that's what he's trying to say.
Stir
the pot a little bit, huh?
People, you know, everybody says don't.
We never do that.
Don't look at the comments. Don't. You know, well, I do. I'm one of the guys that, you know, whenever they come on there and like I did a little deal on my porch the other day about practicing with lighted knocks versus practicing with factory knocks on your arrows. If you shoot out to 100 yards, I can guarantee you that those lighted knocks are not going to hit in the same spot that those factory knocks are going to hit. Now, at 20 yards, they will. At 30 yards, they will. But at 80 yards, 90 yards, they're not.
Yeah.
And that thing went to like 200,000 views or something on Facebook, and guys were coming on there and never mentioned anything about that. They were beating me up over how I drew my bow back. You believe that?
Nothing about knocks.
Nothing about the knocks.
I've been
that I was
meaning to talk
talking
to you about that.
They kept.
Yeah, about that.
Finally got us.
They were like, "You're headed straight for shoulder surgery. Straight for shoulder surgery." So I just started. All I did under each comment, I just posted a picture of a dead elk.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I mean,
22 comments in a row.
The same picture.
But so if somebody's going to beat me up over how I draw my bow back, I can't imagine what is fixing to happen on an arrow in a carotid artery.
And to be honest with you, it shouldn't be that way.
No, I know, right?
It should not be that. You shouldn't have to explain yourself what happened here.
Everybody knows.
But here's the thing. All it does to me when I see people comment shit like that, they just don't know how to hunt. Or they just haven't done enough of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you see all the stuff. It's like, dude, relax.
Yeah.
You know, like making fun of you, making fun of another grown man for how he draws his bow. Meanwhile, you're wrapping paracord around the front of your tree stand. That's the gayest shit I've ever heard. You wear knee pads? We're bringing back the knee pad conversation.
Yeah. What an
Do I got to
asshole.
go over it again? Rollerblading, gardening, your mom. That's the only three things that wear knee pads.
Hey, haters gonna hate, man.
I mean,
but it sucks because and I feel like we as a community continue to kind of tap on this a little bit here, like, man, more haters and all that fun stuff. Sooner or later, people are gonna realize how important it is for us all to come together, you know, about these kind of things. And we've got another project we're working on. We're growing what we do from a content standpoint, and we're not there yet, but we got a segment coming out with Kenneth, and he's going to kind of give his take on life lessons with his nice Southern charm and witty response, and just a nice little bit for our social, because we get these comments, and again, he likes to pick. But I'm like, well, why? I mean, like, what are we holding back for? Let's just put you in front of the camera and let you do it, you know? And so,
Yeah, you should film and like post the comment in the screen, and then he starts talking shit on it.
yeah, it's like, you're a pussy.
You guys know,
So it's and I see that coming to that moment, you know, and really the purpose of that bit is going to be to try to bring some community aspect to what we do, man. Pull us all together. But the first one, we shot the pilot here about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's the funny part of it. You shot it, what, 2 weeks before you went on this elk hunt, right?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Hunters hating on hunters.
that's gonna stir it.
Yeah, man.
I love it. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
How do we
so,
sponsor it?
Oh, dude. Honorary sponsor. You'll be right. You're in. You're in.
It's just me in the background. That's gay.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Just reading comments. Thumbs down. You're lame.
Yeah.
Oh, but it is. So hopefully we get, you know, it'll be interesting to see it all because it's all going to hit pretty quickly. But
you guys ever heard of Ronnie Radke's from Falling in Reverse? He's the lead singer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, so have you ever seen his TikTok? And I'm not like a huge fan of that band or whatever, but he's like, he trolls back on hater comments. So he'll respond and he'll like go to their socials and screen grab like embarrassing shit from theirs.
Shit.
I do that too, dude.
Oh, he does. He does.
Oh my God. There's one dude hating on him and he's like throwing a Frisbee and he goes, and he green screens him in the background. And he's like, "Oh, dude, is this you? Oh my!" Like, and it just rips them. But my favorite thing to do to anti-hunters, because I'll post African stuff like Eric's giraffe, just to kind of like
just to poke, to poke the bear.
And every time they comment, I go to their worst photo I can find and screenshot and crop their face and just respond to the comment with a picture of their face.
He usually drops some line like, it'll be like, definitely a vegetarian. Like, can't believe you kill animals. You can just go buy your groceries at the store. Kenneth will be like, that's an awful nice leather belt you're wearing. You know? It's just all the time.
I mean,
just
very true though.
It's so true.
It's like, what do you feed your cat? Is your cat a vegetarian?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that thing's gonna die if it is.
Are your 6 cats vegetarian? Huh? Bitch.
You ever hear Rogan talk about that? People putting their cats on vegetarian diets because they're vegan, and then their cat gets liver failure.
Yeah, they're dying.
It's like, you just killed a cat. You know? It's like, I don't know. I love making fun of the internet. It used to bother, me a little bit, because I used to get like razzed up over it.
Yeah.
But now I think it's just funny.
Oh, yeah.
But I started to do that on TikTok. On our TikTok, I would take the ridiculous comments and then respond to them and read it like it was advice.
Yeah.
And that's something we should probably do more.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to have to go watch that. I might have to
we can
download
make
the
a show-
TikTok.
we can make a
I
show
had
out of
deleted
that.
TikTok, but I'm coming back.
Yeah. I might
Just
have
for
to
that.
get back on it. I deleted it too.
Yeah.
we have an idea that we've been brainstorming. When we get off air, we'll pitch it to you
Yeah,
guys and see what
sounds
you
good.
think, because I think you like it. So, I don't know. But I'm excited to see the elk hunt. I think now you're going to get some WCB listener engagement on it.
Awesome,
So,
man.
hopefully,
Yeah.
Everyone hating on you.
I think it's coming one way or another.
I don't think our crowd. Our crowd.
No, they won't hate on you. I'm just
They're
giving you
more.
shit.
Our crowd defends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They'll
I feel
have your
like-
back for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Like, and that's one of the great things about our audience too, man. It's amazing how many. It's funny now because he does like to poke, but if he pokes, it's amazing. Like, we'll have 30, 40 guys. All of a sudden, next thing you know, they got his back and they're
Just
like,
jump right on.
yeah, we don't even have to say a thing. Like, and sometimes like, all right, easy.
Settle
Like,
down.
Let's not burn them at the stake.
I don't want Zuck knocking on our door. Come on.
No problems though.
Pump the brakes, but keep going. You know.
It's like I see like some WCB. I mean, bless their hearts, man. Like, they'll back us up on shit. I'm like, guys, easy up.
Yeah,
you know?
go a little hard.
Yeah.
Guys are getting thrown in.
You thought
Facebook
you went
jail.
harsh.
Brutal. Well, so fun side story. One time, this happened like 2 years ago. The garbage truck incident.
Yeah, probably.
Basically, a garbage truck about ran over my wife and kids in the car out in front of my house. Like, came up. We live in a rural area. Came over the hill, like close. Like, swerved into the ditch. Like, 2 little babies are in the car, like legit babies at the time.
Oh man.
And I called the disposal company. I told the story before, real fast. Called the disposal company. I'm like, yo, like, slow the fuck down on the road.
Yeah.
This deal, like, he's out front of my house now. I'm gonna go beat his ass. Like, I was that worked up over.
Well,
it,
you
know?
should be. Yeah.
And they pretty much told me, basically now you got to haul your cans to the end of the road, which is like a long stretch. I'm just not doing that. I'm paying for a service. I'm calling you to bitch about this. You're wrong.
Right.
I didn't do anything. So pretty much it was like, all right, well, fuck you. And I'm on the mower and I'm brainstorming like, how do I get back at this company? Because now I don't have garbage service and I got to figure it out. And that's where I do all my best thinking is on the zero turn. And I'm like, oh, I'll just put their phone number to their business on the podcast and tell listeners to call them, and then we'll do a giveaway if you can prove that you call them. And
No, you didn't.
my
Dude, it was fucking bad.
it
I wonder
was.
if they still get calls just from.
They have to from people. I think that if they didn't change their number, I'd be surprised. Or they just wrote at the storm. So like a week later, the next episode, I'm like, guys, all right, quit calling. Like I'm gonna get sued, and like I had to basically like call everybody off. But people were sending me videos, like someone would video them calling. And the shit they were saying to this disposal company, I'm like, oh, I don't know if you can say that. And it was like
You just killed my fucking dog.
They just ran over my dog and just kept going. It's like, oh my God.
There was stuff that I couldn't even say on this show, And I'm like,
that says a lot.
Shit, we're gonna be in trouble. And I think it was just we called it even. Yeah, and I don't know. They for sure know.
Yeah.
But they shut their phones off for a while.
Oh man.
And
you talk about an engagement story for the next person you're selling media to.
Yeah,
Like,
no kidding.
You want to hear how we
could do some
sabotage the
damage.
local business?
Pay us money, we'll do some damage.
Hey, we actually got to call that company and see how many phones or how many times they got called that month, so we can get the numbers.
Yeah. So what you do is you just list them as a reference on your media kit. Like for a good reference, call whatever waste service. And probably like, hey, you guys know working class bow hunters?
He was listening.
Man, there we go again.
Well, I don't know how many employees they have, but one of their employees, they found out about it, right? 'Cause we have a Facebook
Pretty
group, but I
obvious,
could see them
probably.
trying to get into it. But we have moderators that work the group for us, so they're just like, no, fuck off. So I don't know.
Denied.
We never heard anything else after. Maybe that was wrong of me, but it felt like even payback.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm good with
Fair
it.
enough. Yeah. Hey,
Good
dude,
with it.
I mean,
when it's your family,
that's right.
that's fair
Kids.
enough. Yeah, man.
And I told the whole story. Like I opened the show. This is the number. It's 309.
Get it out. Get
It was
it out, Kurt.
right away. You couldn't miss it. Yeah.
Can I get that number after the show?
It was the title
You
sponsor.
gotta get in there. You got a long drive, don't you?
Just keep calling them.
Listen here, mother. Yeah. It was, I would say, over 500 calls in the span of 3 days.
Oh my
100%.
Yeah, or more. I don't know, but it was. But anyway,
I love your audience.
yeah, it was. I was like, wow. And it was 4th of July weekend too.
No garbage is getting picked up.
No, they weren't having a great time. But anyway, that's my little side quest story.
That's
awesome.
great.
So I don't know, how do you troll back? Sometimes it's pretty fun.
Got to do what you got to do.
I can be petty
Yeah.
if I want to be.
Yeah.
But no, you guys are killing it. I think the elk hunt would be awesome. My guess is it's the most viewed episode you guys put out.
It'll definitely be a good one. And we
The
don't-
grizzly bear might be hard to top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
But
tough
that
one.
might do it though.
Yeah.
I think it's going to do pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My,
Pretty good.
my hope is that, like I said, builds a little community out of it, and the lessons received. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, people can say, "Hey, man, I appreciate you doing that," because for what it's worth, like we're talking about, he's gonna put himself out there a little bit, but that's how we are, man. That's
honest.
how this whole group is. You know?
Gotta respect that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. So we're into October right now. We got whitetail moves being planned.
Oh yeah. Yep. I personally drew a Kansas tag and an Iowa tag. Did you?
I don't want to talk about draws right now.
Rough subject.
Tough subject.
What happened?
It was a rough year when it came to the application line. It was rough for me this year, but
Man, I don't know how many texts I got from him. Did not draw. Did not draw. Did not draw. I just sent him a picture of my license.
yeah, it's like, gosh, you're such a jerk. That's
sucks
how
to
I
you.
know he's a good friend, though, man. Like, he keeps it real.
But what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
True.
You
Yeah.
know, 'cause
True.
you're
Yeah,
gonna draw
man.
everything next year, and then it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're headed to Wyoming and
Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, I got a cool tag out there. It's actually a rifle tag. Doug and I were talking about it earlier, and It's a rifle tag in early October, which is kind of odd,
For what?
For deer, but it's mule deer. Yeah,
Okay,
is what we're going after. So been working with a cool group of guys. I've met some buddies over the last couple of years. They've got this business called Infinite Outdoors. It's an app. It's kind of like the VRBO of hunting properties.
Oh, yeah.
Got like a real cool process to how they do everything. If you haven't checked them out, man, check them out because they're investing in the landowners, encouraging conservation, all the stuff that we do here at home with whitetail land management and habitat management. They're actually encouraging that and offering more money to the people that sign up with them that do
cool.
that. Yeah, and so it's a cool place or a cool operation. So we're gonna go out there. They've become good buddies, and they've got a ranch out there that I'm gonna go and hunt with them DIY style, and be a fun little deal. And
would that be high country type area?
No, it's not, man. It's we're staying like 10 miles from the Nebraska border. So,
cool.
Yeah, so kind of southwest of Scottsbluff, kind of
sweet
Butte country a little bit there along the river. And
that gets kind of foothilly, don't it?
it does a little bit, yeah. So it's
sweet.
It should be a fun one, man. I'm pumped about it. I'm excited about it. I actually thought I was going to take my oldest son with me, and he's kind of not bailed out on me. He's prioritizing because basketball starts the week after. So he's like, Dad, I really want to go. Can we go back in December maybe? And I said, well, we'll figure it out. So,
yeah,
I always figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
That's cool though. Awesome. Well, best of luck on that.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Good luck.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we've got that. He's got that coming up. I've got some pretty good deer at home in Mississippi that I'm gonna go back and hunt.
Cool.
I'm gonna. I may come to Illinois and hunt. We've got a lease here in Illinois, and then we have another lease over in Missouri, which Laden and I worked on this morning. We were over there, moving some stands and working on some cameras and stuff over there. We got a deer or two over there. We may try to get on.
Awesome.
And like I said, I drew a Kansas tag, bow tag, and then I drew a Iowa late season muzzleloader tag.
Awesome.
There, and we both have a I've been hunting with a guy since I was in my 20s. We're really good friends. He lives in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. I go out there and mule deer hunt with him every year. His name is Justin Atkinson. And it's public land, but it's some really good public land. And what Laden and I both are going out there this year. So
cool.
It's fun.
What was I shot a 193 out there 2 years ago, and then last year I shot a, what was that one?
204, 203.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
I need that.
Can I go?
Yeah, come on, let's go. Man.
I want me coordinates.
No. That's first.
It's pretty fun though, because like I said, it's public land. You got people, hunting around you, and but he grew up there, and he knows he knows it real well, and we have a lot of fun. That's
awesome.
That's
a cool place.
Cool. A lot of options.
Yeah.
A lot going on this fall.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Dude, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
I have too, probably more than y'all.
I don't know.
It's a great episode.
I don't know about that. I mean, I had a blast, man. I love the old stories. I love just being able to catch up with you. What excites me the most about like this episode, and we'll give them some credit, the Small Town Boys. It was like it was the introduction for you guys to our audience in detail. So then now it's just way more casual on every episode next, and then it'll cut up different in a good way, right? I feel like it's like the necessary footings,
right,
for like the intro to like what we do, and now you see how we operate and all that stuff. And does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So. Yeah.
I can't wait to see all the small town boys in Kansas. Will this even launch yet?
It'll be real close.
It'll be close.
Yeah.
So, either I'm going to get a bunch of shit, or they're not going to know about it yet. So
I'm gonna map where it launches like a day before you get there,
you go.
and then send it to Peanut and be like, make sure everybody hears this.
Hey, got some listening material for your ride out to Kansas.
yeah, no shit.
You're gonna want to hear it.
Just gonna jump you.
Right.
Yeah, it's like there he is.
Kicks my ass right when I get into camp. What the hell?
That's
I just got here.
Well, cool. Well, one more time, we'll link everything in, but where can people find you guys?
No, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Sportsman's Channel. Don't forget Sportsman's Channel. And then we got a couple other fast platforms. Outdoor America TV, we're running a show on. But digital is our big concentration as it is for most of the guys right now. So but our stuff hunt wise, content wise, is turning about every 2 to 3 weeks after a hunt right now.
Yeah,
we do shorter format stuff.
Moving them.
Yeah, man. We're doing our best. We want to get our audience and the community content as it's coming across, as it's fresh and as it's relevant. And then our best 13 to 18 stories usually go to Sportsman's Channel in a longer format later on. So
cool.
Awesome.
Some cool stuff.
That's awesome. Well, congrats, guys, on the success.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Looking forward to having you guys back.
Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for letting me in again.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, maybe you'll be in the middle seat one of these days.
Maybe.
Got to have something to strive
maybe.
for,
We gotta
right?
work it up there. We're gonna need that mule deer connection.
Yeah. I got you, dog. Shh, call me, not him.
Okay, we'll see. All right. Doug, how you feeling?
Seriously, thanks for coming, guys, and good luck this season.
Thanks, man. You too.
Really appreciate it.
Giordano, man, a few words.
It was cool. I like hearing those old stories. Cool. Again, it's kicking. It's
Hell
kicking.
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's already trying
I
it.
love those old stories. It makes me feel like I was alive back then.
There you go.
But I wasn't. So.
Hey, congrats on the full-time position.
Yeah.
Still
Thanks,
intern
dude.
last time I was here,
Yeah.
so man, congrats on
I've
that.
moved up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Climbing the ladder.
He's pushing
A
real
little
hard to
bit.
get an intern. It's real weird. It's like aggressive.
It's like he can't do his job.
All right.
Unbothered.
That's all he says. All right. All right.
Can't think what you want, Doug. You're never here.
I have a job.
So do I.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. Apparently, you can't do it.
Jordan looked at me.
Step in for me.
Shut up, Doug. He works. All right, Eric, what do you got?
No, man, it's been an honor. Thanks for coming. And
Thank you.
yeah, can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely.
Curtis, you got anything?
You know what to do. Go shoot your bow. Later.